Greetings, Game Changers. This is Classic Games Redefined, and my name's Rich. And I did a prior mutator on Knizia Low Score, and I said it wasn't really suitable for war games, but I remember playing like History of the World, and that's the reason why I figured on war games. There's a way using a Knizia scoring for a rise and fall game, even player elimination. And we'll have the card, you'll see the card over here will pop up. We'll have a card pointing to that, and also the changing the game video. You can go check out the Knizia Low Score, which is borrowed from a game you Tigris and Euphrates and Ingenious, but you do it in a war game here. There's a challenge if you're playing a two-player game and there are like multiple sides, like Diplomacy has 7. This is just generic map, and that's why I'm just showing it here. I have an idea. It could be anything. You imagine what the piece is here. You have too many sides and it's not going to have enough player interaction. You have to do it. What Knizia did with the scoring, which could be done here for any rise and fall game, let's say Britannia, for example, we have it. You have a player play 2 sides, let's say here. Or, you know, if we're going to do a 3-player side, we could have 3, and Italy can get the boot, as it were. Let's say there were 7 sides here, and somebody doesn't play Italy, but you could have 3 players play 2 sides, 2 players play 3 sides, etc. You do your moves. And the way you determine winner is that if you have, like, in a 2-player game, and somebody eliminates one of the factions of the other player, they can win the game. They're totally eliminated. So you're always targeting the weak player. However, let's say the game plays on so long, kind of like Diplomacy or typically in a rise and fall game. I think Vinci, I think is a term for it, which became actually Small World would work. What you actually do here with this is that you end up looking at the score of the high score player. I'm going to actually shift over here. Let's say I was playing this England, France, and we're doing reverse diplomacy. And you have this here. I look at the low score of the 2 players, of the 2 sides that I'm controlling, and I pick the lower the 2 scores ends up being the one that matters. And that's what Knizia did to get balanced scoring. You can take the same technique and apply it in a game like this here, like in History of the World, for example, and have it so that it's the low score. I remember playing my brother where it was like the high score one and you tanked it. This one forces balanced development. Also, if you eliminate one of the player's side, you can win the side, particularly in a 2-player game. So that's what you're doing. This technique here also in a Euro-style game, you can also, rather than cooperative, you can have players play more than one side in a game. And this allows you to actually have the dynamics of something in a more than a 2-player game. The dynamics of a game that's normally more than 2 players for 2 players. Settlers of Catan 2 players could be done that way, where you're juggling both, but usually you want to have a little bit more points than it. Settlers only goes up to 10. So anyhow, this is just a food for thought here, that yes, you can actually take what you have here, what is normally the Knizia Low Score method, Low Score Mutator, Knizia Low Score Mutator, and apply it to a war game environment or something competitive where the players are competing by having them manage more than one side in the game. Say here, having more than one side in the game, and you have it so that the weaker of the 2 is what counts for them. You have to figure out some other tiebreaker, maybe the highest score amongst the stronger player if they tied or something else. But it depends on the game. You're going to have to tweak this accordingly, but this is just some food for thought. So anyhow, it's just a basic way in a game with a large number of players, a large number of sides that need to be managed, and you don't have enough players, how to do it. So you use low score amongst all of them. So anyhow, check out the other video on the Knizia Low Score Mutator, which will have a link on the right. And that's the latest. I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to get going here. So I do want to thank you for watching. May your die always roll 5. And remember, don't hate the player, change the game.